So electric vehicles are not really a part of the heart of what the intent of this channel was about. But it's recently become a passion in my life, and it does have aspects that are technically related. So I decided to do several videos concerning electric vehicles. And unfortunately, electric vehicles and their adoption have become politicized. And, I suppose anything could be politicized, but these, for one reason or another, have become much more so. And I think it's because, the Democratic Party has considered adoption of electric vehicles to be healthy for the environment. It may or may not be. I honestly don't know the science behind it. So there was the Biden infrastructure plan that was going to put in a whole bunch of EV chargers all over the United States. And the Republicans countered saying, hey, it doesn't make sense. There's too much money, sort of thing. And there's been some back and forth. And people consider electric vehicles, if their mindset is traditionally orientated concerning cars being internal combustion engine cars, they consider EVs to be kind of like a novelty and just something that's going to be a trend that passes by and not going to be part of the mainstay. And honestly, I don't know. I'm just speaking about my perspective. I've adopted electric vehicles in our household. We have two, a Tesla Model 3 and a Volvo XC40 Recharge. And I like them, and I'll go over the reason why I like them here in just a second. But unfortunately, it's become politicized, and I find each side kind of misconstrues some of the reality of owning an electric vehicle to some extent, to make their side more truthful and discredit the other side, sort of thing. So anyway, regardless, I'm going to speak to a person who actually owns an electric vehicle. I don't have any political motivation concerning these videos. I'm just looking at it from a technical standpoint. This website, offered by Duke Energy, does a pretty good job of explaining the benefits of owning an electric vehicle in a way that I agree with. First thing they go to is price. Now, this particular one, I don't 100% agree with the way they're saying it, but they're saying EV models are inexpensive. Yeah. So the Chevy Bolt is an entry-level EV, and the Nissan Leaf also you can get inexpensively. There's also the Volkswagen ID4. Standard, made in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which you can get for $30,000 range. But if you walk into a Tesla dealership, you're not going to see anything for $30,000. I mean, it just doesn't exist, or a lot of the other EV makers. And the reason being is because the components necessary to make an EV are not made in mass like the internal combustion engine cars are made. So a lot of time EVs are also made by hand. They don't have the same efficiencies that the internal combustion engine cars that are made more quickly with low-cost components. So they cost more. Eventually, things will probably level out. I forgot to mention the Chevy Equinox is coming out, and it's supposed to be in the $30,000 range also. So the ID4, the Chevy Bolt, the Nissan Leaf, and the Chevy Equinox, I think, are in the $30,000 range. But a lot of the other EVs are going to be pricey. They're going to be $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 cars. All right. Fuel is the thing that is spoken about most. The inexpensive electrical method of powering your car versus gasoline, and the spike in price of gas per gallon has lent itself to this, and there's a lot of focus on this area of owning an electric vehicle. And I've done some math here at my house. I can get a mile down the road for 4 cents, and typically, depending on your MPG and the cost of a gallon of gas, it's going to be 16 cents to get down a mile of road in an internal combustion engine car. So yes, I'm spending less on fuel in my electric vehicle. Personally, I don't care. I'm not penny pinching my way into a new way of driving down the road. That's really not my motivation. What I do like is not having to go to a gas station to fuel my car. I pull into my garage every night, I plug it in, and when I leave in the morning, I've got a full tank. And as long as I don't drive more than 220 miles in the Volvo XC40 Recharge or more than 300 miles in the Tesla Model 3 Long Range, I'm fine. I go where I need to go, take the kids to Taekwondo, soccer. I go to work, I go to the grocery store, go see a movie, go do whatever I want around town. And as long as in a given day, I don't travel more than, 220 miles, I never have to see another charger. I pull into my garage at night, I plug in, and when I wake up in the morning, after having dinner and a good night's sleep, the car has got a full tank of gas. Obviously, it's not gas, but you get the point. So that's what I like. That is super convenient. Not having to take time out of my day to swing by the gas station to fill up. Normally, when we had internal combustion engine vehicles, I did it about once a week, on the weekend, part of my chores, after cutting the grass or whatever, I'd go fill up the cars. Don't have to do it. Not a part of my life anymore. Now, the chargers did cost money to get installed. And the Tesla needs to have something called the Tesla Destination Charger installed, unless you want to just plug it into a wall outlet. When you buy a Tesla, it will come with a way to plug it into a wall, and that's called trickle charging. And it'll take a long time. It's really not practical. It's so slow. So the way to think about it is level 1 charging, which is basically plugging it into a wall outlet, is called trickle charging. That will take days to charge your car. Level 2 charging will take hours to charge your car. Level 3 charging, or DC fast charging, takes minutes to charge your car. So that's the general concept there. And so if you're going to be level 1 charging, a Tesla is not going to be practical. So we had a Tesla Destination Charger installed in our garage. And the incentive, the federal tax credit at the time, we did get it for the Tesla, and it paid for the Tesla Destination Charger installation. Plus, we got additional money back. So the cost of the installation was less than the amount of money we got back on our taxes, which was nice. For the Volvo XC40 Recharge, it also comes with a little kit to plug into a wall outlet if you want to trickle charge it. But it also has an adapter for a NEMA 1450, which is this plug right here. This is the same plug that you plug your dryer into. This is how we charge the Volvo XC40 Recharge. We had one of these outlets installed in the garage. So we've got a Tesla Destination Charger installed in the garage, and we have one of these other ones installed in the garage. And I'm not an electrician, but I have heard, if you are knowledgeable about electrical circuits inside houses, even still, you don't want to install these because you want to have someone who's familiar with electric vehicle charging code, because it's slightly different. Now, I don't know the details there, but they always recommend that you have these installed by a professional. And the reason being, these things are going to be charging in the middle of the night when you're asleep, and you definitely don't want to have some wires start melting in the middle of the night. Anyway, so we had that installed for both cars, and so both cars charge in the garage at night, which is super convenient. And as I said, it's 4 cents per mile for us to travel down a mile of road. However, all that aside, this is the real reason why I'm a big fan of electric vehicles. It is said that an electric vehicle has 2/3 fewer moving parts than an internal combustion engine car. Now let's just roll down the systems that an electric vehicle does not have. It doesn't have a muffler or an exhaust system. It doesn't have a starter or an alternator. It doesn't have a cooling system or a radiator. It doesn't have oil pan, head gasket. Doesn't have all that. Doesn't have a transmission. No transmission fluid, no transmission. What it does have is, excuse me, a battery and an electric motor. You fill the battery up with power, and it sends that power to the electric motor, and you go down the road. Super simple. Which means that I don't have an oil leak show up on my garage floor, meaning that I need to go to the mechanic and have my schedule disrupted while I'm getting a car repaired and a $780 repair bill as a result. Now, yes, an electric vehicle is going to have some breakdowns and it's going to have to go to a mechanic to have repairs. But with 2/3 fewer moving parts, the chance of that happening is much lower. So it's a very dependable car. If I could have a car that I could buy and I can get to and from work and I can get the kids to and from wherever, go to the grocery store, go do entertainment, date nights with the wife, and I don't have to worry about the thing breaking down, that's what I'm going to buy. And an electric vehicle for me has woken me up to the concept of how reliable electric vehicles are. And I don't go and change my oil every 3,000 miles. I don't have any oil. An electric vehicle is basically a closed motor, sealed up, and it's a big battery. Those are the two main components of an electric vehicle. And batteries are measured in kilowatt hours, how much they hold, basically like a gas tank. Kilowatt hour is how many kilowatts you can burn in an hour. So the Volvo XC40 Recharge is approximately a 75 kilowatt hour battery. The Tesla is unpublished, but you can basically estimate. We've got a Tesla Model 3 long range, so we can get about 300 miles out of the thing. Volvo XC40 Recharge, we get about 220 miles out of it. So this, for me, is the main reason why I'm a EV fan. They don't break down, very reliable cars, and they're super fun to drive. When I first started driving the Tesla, the pickup on it was a little too aggressive for me, and they have a toggle switch where you could dial down the aggressiveness of the acceleration to something called chill mode. It's like not so fast. And I drive the Tesla with chill mode. The Volvo XC40 Recharge does not have any such option, and it is stupid fast. I mean, it goes 0 to 60 in, I think it's 4.1 seconds. It is like you press the gas pedal and your head slams against the headrest. It is ridiculously fast car. Plus, they're fun to drive. They don't have the transmission rev up. They don't have that. There's no transmission involved. They're super quiet. They have really good power, and they're just fun cars to drive. They're just really enjoyable. Now, the one thing that is of concern are road trips, and this is called PlugShare. PlugShare is currently owned by a company called EVgo, and you saw them right there. Let me just show you what EVgo looks like. This is my Volvo XC40 Recharge at an EVgo station. That's it. It's a DC fast charger. As I said, level 1 chargers charge your car in days. Level 2 chargers or AC chargers charge your car in hours. And these DC fast chargers charge your car in minutes. So if you're on a road trip, you want to get hooked up to one of these things when you need to refuel because it goes a lot faster. EVgo gets a lot of bad credit because a lot of times their stations are busted. And I'm not quite sure the economics, but I think the property owner has some investment in these things. So when they break, there's some back and forth about getting them fixed and who's going to pay for the part sort of thing. I don't really know the economics, but obviously if I'm a gas station and I want people to come buy my candy bars, if I put an electric vehicle charging station there, people are going to come buy my candy bars because they're charging their car and they're stuck there for 30 minutes while their car charges. But anyway, so EVgo gets a lot of bad press for chargers being broken. And that's where PlugShare comes into play. With PlugShare, I can see if chargers have been used recently because it's community driven. People will report whether or not they were able to successfully charge at a charging station. Let me just give you an example. Here in Old Fort, North Carolina, is a level 2 charger right near Interstate 40. And it's been busted for a while. And I was there not too long ago, and I reported to the community, hey, it's still broke. But this guy, Matthew, I think lives close by, and he says, there's an electrician. They have the parts. They're going to be installing it, and it should be up and running soon. So I've been keeping my eye on this. The nice thing is that when it's fixed, Matthew's going to chime in there and be like, hey, everyone, it's fixed. And then I'll be able to go to Asheville, North Carolina from Charlotte, North Carolina, and pass by Old Fort and get a level 2 charge for free here at this location. So EVgo is nice because it gives you some heads up as to what you're getting into as you're going down the road. So when you look at road trippers on YouTube, what they almost always do is they hug the interstates. And if they're in a Tesla, they go from supercharger to supercharger. If they're in a non-Tesla, they go from Electrify America to Electrify America. Those two networks, the Supercharger Network and Electrify America Network, are very reliable and very fast. We recently took a road trip to Orlando, Florida, in July of this year in the Tesla Model 3 long range. And I used PlugShare to kind of plot out where I was going to be charging. I got a hotel stop here in Jacksonville, Florida, that had a charger nearby, and I was a little apprehensive about this whole EV long-range road trip concept. But when you actually do it, it was incredibly easy. In fact, there was one stop that we made at a supercharger where my son and I went in to get a burger. We ate the burger. When we came back, we actually didn't have enough time to finish. The car was charged, and we needed to move it out of the charging station, the supercharger station, because they'll bill you if you're done and you don't move it, because they're so popular that you need to free up the parking space so someone else can get there. So it was like we were rushing to get out of there. Most of the time, a supercharger stop is similar to this. You'll pull in, you'll plug in, you'll go to the bathroom, you'll come back, and you'll watch social media for 10 minutes, and then you're on your way. It's not anything to be apprehensive about. The superchargers are all over, and especially on Interstate 95. There's superchargers all up and down Interstate 95. So if you hug the interstates and you go from one supercharger to another, or you go from Electrify America to Electrify America, it's a non-issue. I mean, it's really nothing exciting, nothing to write home about. I call it boring. And that is not fun for me. I did, started to use PlugShare because I need to go to my brother-in-law's house for Thanksgiving, and he lives over here in Wilmington, and I live here in Charlotte. So I was trying to figure out where I was going to go, and this was a fun charger, PD Electric. Let's see. There's my car at PD Electric's fast charger, and they just recently moved this. If you look, the concrete is fresh concrete. And it was kind of funny because the pin was at a different location, at the old location for a while until it got moved. So there's some confusion there. But I used PlugShare in order to find out where the chargers were, in order to get places like my brother-in-law's house for Thanksgiving and things like that. But what I started to develop was desire to make road trips into what are called charging deserts. And charging deserts are these blank spots here where there's no chargers. I'm like, well, what would it be like to go there? That would be fun, because all the YouTube videos are people going up and down the interstates. That's, to me, is kind of boring. I want to go into the charging desert. And the first one I was looking at was Jenny Wiley State Park near Prestonburg, Kentucky. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Anyway, I'm probably looking at it. Not seeing it. Let me go to Interstate 81 real quick, and I'll get my bearings. There's 77. Here's 81. Pearlsburg. Oh, okay. I was a little bit off. Here we go. Yeah. There's the St. Abington. Prestonburg, Kentucky. Jenny Wiley State Park right there. This is a charging desert. Because if you're going on a road trip, as I said, you don't want to charge off these level 2 chargers because they take hours. You know, if you're out of juice and you need to fill back up, you're going to be stuck there for 6 hours while you fill back up again. No one wants to do that. So you want to get these DC fast chargers, which are way down here on the interstate, and then head up into the charging desert and get back. You want to have enough juice to be able to get back down. And so this, to me, was fun. How can I do that? How can I get to Jenny Wiley State Park in Prestonburg, Virginia, go see the park, have fun, and get back? You know, this is a charging desert. There ain't nothing around here. Now, there is this one level 2 charger in Pikesville. This is where I was going to go. It's a nice charger in a covered parking garage not too far from the state park. So that was my plan. The problem is that there was flooding in Kentucky, and the state of Kentucky has made Jenny Wiley State Park Lodge available to the people who were affected by the flood. And so right now, the lodge is not open. It's being used as a temporary place for people to live while their homes are taken care of. So I've put that trip on hold. But I have done many other EV road trips into charging deserts that I'm going to make videos about here in the upcoming days.